Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the Fun Time Podcast. I am your host, Cole. Once again, by myself without Carter because he's doing whatever he does. I tried to get him involved with this one, but he's been busy. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know if you liked the last episode. I know it's been a little bit. There's been a lot going on at my place in terms of people moving out, people moving in, my girlfriend moving in with me. I had some family visiting recently, and I've been running and stuff more. So there's just been, sorry, I gotta readjust. There's been a lot going on in general, especially with I'm going to be starting school again next week. I just adjusted the mic, so if it sounds a little off, deal with it. I'm not going to go and manually fix that because that would require a lot of work that I'm not going to do. I've got a tall boy truly, and I just threw a bunch of almonds all over the floor. So that's cool. Just scoop these up. Okay. So yeah, I'm trying to be healthy, boy. So that's what that's about. This fucking beanbag is not cooperating. This week, if you can tell from the title, a little burp, sorry. We are going to be talking about VHS memories, VHS in general, my experience with the medium, maybe a little rundown on what it is, because I don't think there'd be anyone listening to this that's not aware what VHS is, but there is a possibility now, so I have to kind of account for that. Yeah, so we're gonna go over my story with VHS, maybe talk about VHS in general, and then I'm gonna talk about 3 examples of stuff I watched on VHS when I was a child. Also, if you hear anything in the background, I have a fan running, hopefully quietly enough that you can't hear it, but if there's a little mumbling, I apologize, but it's rather hot in the room I moved into. So yeah, I'm not gonna burn in here for 30 minutes or so, just for the sake of this video. So, I guess we can start with a rundown of what VHS is, I suppose. It's created in the 70s, I believe. 76 or something. I should probably have checked that before I started talking, but that's lovely. It was made by JVC, the Victor Company of Japan, so it was developed in Japan. It was directly competing with Betamax at the time, which is another one of those stupid formats that did not catch on. It's basically like magnetic tape that allows for this kind of thing to happen. I don't know the whole technical thing. If you really want an actual rundown on that, I know I could do it because I like researching stuff. It's kind of what I like doing. But we're not here for that. We're here for me to just talk about my opinions on things and stuff like that. But obviously, in around 2006, if you're not aware, is when it kind of basically got phased out. Because 2003 was around when DVD rentals surpassed those of VHS in the United States. And basically, it just VHS became obsolete in comparison to DVD, which could have a higher resolution and hold more data, and was just a higher quality overall. That's it for my shitty rundown of VHS. By the way, it means video home system is what VHS stands for. Sorry, I had to take a break there for a second. I'm having a little bit of a technical hoo-ha going on because I'm in a different spot than normal. My setup is not at my desk with my nice little spot there. I still have my mic on the arm and everything, but I'm on the floor on a beanbag and my laptop is on a chair. So that's where we're at right now. So yeah, if I seem off or this is a slightly different or lower quality video than normal, I'm sorry. It is what it is. Now we're going to discuss my story I wanted to talk about before we kind of have my explanation of the examples I want to talk about for the shows. It was a weird period for VHS media in early to mid 2000s. Obviously, as I said, I was born in the year 2000. VHS started to phase out around 2003 to 2008. So as I was a child, it was a weird spot for it to be in. It was still in use, but it was obviously not the primary medium. Obviously, though, people still had tons of VHS tapes and people still had VHS players and all that. So it wasn't gone yet. It wasn't to the point where it is now, where it's like you don't see a VHS player in someone's house ever. But yeah, it was definitely a weird time. People were kind of giving them away, but people still wanted them. So we had a lot of VHS tapes though growing up. My parents had stuff, and my grandparents gave us a whole bunch of shit. So they helped contribute to our collection. Um, we had enough to fill like a whole shelf. There was a fuckload of them. So at one point, our VHS tapes were put into a trash bag as a punishment, and it was kind of like a situation where it's like, haha, you guys are being bad, and if you're more bad, we're throwing the fucking things away. So they went in a trash bag into the basement, and we didn't see them for a bit. And I didn't know that I was supposed to be getting them back. So we're all thinking, like my brothers and I are like, oh, well, there goes all our VHS tapes. Lo and behold, someone did not realize that, and I don't know how this is even fucking possible, because if you've held a VHS tape or even seen one, they're very annoying plastic and they make a lot of noise if you smack them together with other ones. And especially if they're all in a plastic bag together, they're rectangle, so they're gonna not exactly fit in a trash bag perfectly when they're all together. And despite this, they got thrown away because someone just went, trash bag full of stuff, time to put it in the trash. So it got put out on the curb, and I didn't see them ever again. And they're lost to time. We all had a meltdown, obviously. And on top of it all, my parents didn't really have an explanation for how any of it happened. So to this day, I do not have a reason for why my VHS tapes just fucking disappeared. But that's cool. RIP Childhood VHS Collection. You will be loved forever, lost but not forgotten. Now, for the shows I want to talk about, the stuff I watched on VHS, we're going to specifically talk about children's shows, kind of children's shows that I watched on VHS growing up. The first one we're going to discuss is X-Men the Animated Series, which aired from 1992 to 1997. So obviously I was not alive for its airtime, which is mainly the reason why I saw it on VHS as a child. There's 76 episodes, and it received an 8.4 out of 10 on IMDb, which is pretty good. I loved it growing up as a kid. I think it was one of the first shows, besides like the 90s animated Spider-Man and the Hulk and other stuff like that, that really got me into superheroes. I don't know if I have it in this house or back home in New Hampshire, but I actually still have a beat-up action figure of Wolverine from this show. It was, like, obviously a huge favorite of mine, like I said. I watched as much as I could. I didn't care about watching the same stuff I'd already seen. I just really, really liked it. And then I believe after a few years, maybe 2005, I'm not going to look it up right now because it's not to do with this video very much, but the X-Men show that was after this, that was kind of more of the early to mid 2000s, more mid 2000s bullshit thing that they did with a lot of stuff, like they did with the Spider-Man with Neil Patrick Harris. If you look that up and check it out, I'd suggest it. They made a lot of these things like edgy teen drama kind of things, like what they did with Rugrats All Grown Up, and like that Spider-Man show I just mentioned, and then with the X-Men one that they did where they're all in high school and all angsty and all that shit. It was still fun. It was still enjoyable. I liked it as a kid, but I can see looking back on it and watching a few episodes that they definitely did the like angsty 2000s thing a little too much, and it was kind of annoying. But yeah, overall, I would say uh, it's a really good show. The original X-Men animated series. I would definitely check it out if you get the chance. Speaking of superhero, excuse me, superhero one. Since we're gonna move on from that after this, other ones from the '90s: Spider-Man the animated series, Justice League, and of course Batman the animated series, and Adventures of Batman and Robin and stuff. If you haven't seen any of that, I highly, highly, highly recommend doing so. If you're a fan of any of those properties or just animation in general, they're great. They're great shows. The Batman especially did a lot for our interpretation of Batman. Now, Harley Quinn entirely came from that show. So if you're a fan of Harley Quinn and want to see where her origin is, that it's actually in that show. So that would be a good place for you to start as a Harley Quinn fan. As we move into the next show I'm going to talk about, I forgot to mention I'm going in descending order from the highest rated show I picked to the lowest rated. I did not do that on purpose when I picked them. I just picked the ones I remembered I had like the most fond memories of basically watching as a kid. And it turned out that the order I was writing them down in my notes just happened to be the exact descending order of how they were going to get rated. But the next show we're going to talk about is The Adventures of Timmy the Tooth, which I, for some reason, remembered as Timothy the Tooth, but his name is not Timothy. So there's that. I mean, it certainly is. If his name is Timmy, he's short for Timothy, but they don't call him that, I don't think. It aired in 1995 on Nickelodeon, I think Nick Jr. or something. I watched it on VHS, obviously. The synopsis is this is a weird synopsis. This show was about the adventures of a talking tooth named Timmy and all his friends of Flossmoor Valley as they go on adventures using their imaginations, which would usually have Timmy thwarting bad guys like the Cavity Goon and Miss Sweetie or the Gingivitis Gang. Carter was going to talk about how the Cavity Goon freaked him out. If you've watched Eddie Burback at all, he made a video on Timothy the Tooth. I don't know why I just called him that again, but I'm going to. Where he also made the same assertion that he was also afraid of this thing and it gave him nightmares. I thought he was weird looking. It didn't ever really bother me much as a kid, but I was an odd child. So it was definitely a weird show. If you look up pictures of it, which I might put in the YouTube version of this, it's just a really weird puppet. Eddie also brought up in his video, they had these Timmy the Tooth plushes that were fucking terrifying. So that was a thing. I don't remember too much about it outside of it just being like zany and weird. It was fun. Like obviously, it was weird to make it a tooth, and it's just about brushing your teeth and shit. But you know, kids need to do that because even a lot of adults, I sometimes will like. Well, I used to like there'd be nights where I just get in bed and I'm like, I don't want to brush my teeth. I'm going to sleep. But I've gotten to the point now where even if I try to do that, my brain will make me get up out of bed and go brush my teeth because I can't. My anxiety will just not let me sit with that. But yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about Timmy the Tooth outside of what I've already said. Recommendation in here more like This Is Bear in the Big Blue House, which is something I also watch. So that's another little nice side piece thing going on there. The last thing we're going to talk about is a show called Butt Ugly Martians. Yes, that is what it's called, and I'm not kidding. I will definitely have to include a photo of these guys in the YouTube version of this because they're fucking. I mean, the title says Butt Ugly Martians. They're not good looking. We also had this on VHS. Obviously, that's the whole point of the fucking video. I don't know why I'm saying that. But, yeah, 3.3 out of 10 on IMDb. So that's a bit of a drop from the, what was it, 7.2 that Timothy the Tooth got, Timmy the Tooth, and the 8.4 on the X-Men show. The synopsis for Butt Ugly Martians is 3 aliens came to Earth to become addicted to American culture. They are shown around by their Earthling friends, Mike, Cedric, and Angela. The Butt Ugly Martians stay on Earth as long as Emperor Bog never finds them. So basically, I think the idea was that they were supposed to take over Earth, and then they just got obsessed with it, and that's it. It was I remember liking it. I'm gonna imagine it's pretty shit now. It's basically just these, like I said, these three fucking gross ass dudes from Mars going around and fucking things up for people. Um, let's see if there's trivia on this since this is a weird show. It came out in 2001. There's 26 episodes. Who's Robert Stack? Let's see, because it says it was his final acting gig. Uh, oh, guy from Airplane and shit. I gotta know this guy from something. Uh, he was the voice of the superintendent in school, recess. School's out. He's a narrator in Angry Beavers. General in Recess. Uh, ATF Agent Fleming in Beavis and Butthead. Yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff. This was his. So apparently, But Ugly Martians was this actor's last role, which I'm sorry about that. He was born the day after me, January 13th. Um, yeah, it just has him listed as a straight shooter. So I guess he was very no nonsense kind of guy. But yeah, it just kind of sucks that his last role had to be fucking Butt Ugly Martians. I just remembered real quick, there was a few things I forgot about X-Men, or the main thing really was the theme song. If you don't watch the X-Men animated show, please at least listen to the animated show's theme song because it's fucking amazing. It's so good. It's so 90s and just it's action packed. It's like the Power Rangers theme song. It's just epic. You got to get behind it. The Japanese version of the show had a lot more action-packed version of the opening with some different music. It has its own merits. It's also very fucking rad, but it's just not the one I grew up with. So, um, that's really cool timing. I don't even know if it picked up the motorcycle screaming by, but I stopped because of that. Um, I think that's gonna be it for the VHS memories video. I know this one's a little bit shorter than normal, but I don't know if you noticed, but I've been a little scatterbrained all over the place in this episode. Um, I'm just a little bit out of practice and haven't had Carter with me for a bit, which helps to bounce back with someone else. But just a few things before I go. I got school coming up, so I may be busy a lot. I may not. I'm really gonna try to do my best to be engaged with this and upload properly and on a normal schedule. And I'm gonna work harder than I have in a while at just everything in general. So I'm gonna be doing school more. I'm gonna be doing this more. I'm going to be trying to market it better and get some different kind of videos for you guys on YouTube. So if that's something you'd be interested, let me know. If there's any topics you want me to discuss, let me know. If you made it this far in the video, leave a message saying spiel, like, you know, a spiel. You're going to give them the spiel. Leave that as a code word to make it that you made it this far, because I appreciate you if you have made it this far, because most people do not listen this far. So, just want to thank you for that. If you have not followed us on Twitter, that's where I post most of the updates. It's at podcast_fun, I believe. If that's not it, I'll put in a note in the description or something. But definitely check that out. That's where most of my updates are. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next episode.